Welcome back, guys. So now we are going to do the lab work for our vacuum lesson. We are going to see how vacuum work in real life. Okay, so let's clear the screen first. Okay, for how to clear the screen you can watch my another video. Okay, so that will describe how to clear the screen within PostgreSQL when you are using Linux or Windows in both the. Okay, so you can watch that video as well. Okay, so let's see how many tables we have right now. We have public, that's the table, owner is Mohan, and let's see how many relations. These are the relations we have. Okay, so let's create a new table for our vacuum test. This is the vacuum test table. We are going to use this for our testing purpose for vacuum working. uh, we are going to disable the auto vacuum for this table. You see, auto vacuum enabled is equal to false, as we do not want Postgres to do the auto vacuum by its own. We are going to see, we want to see the auto vacuum working. Okay, so we are disabled the auto vacuum here. Okay, so let's create the table. Now see if we have that table. Yes, we have that. Okay, now let's see the size of this table first. Okay, let's see, that should be of zero size, nothing in it. Okay, so let's insert some rows in it so that the size will be big and auto vacuum will see how auto work, what's the working of auto vacuum. Okay, inserting 1 lakh rows in it, 10 lakhs. Okay, 10 lakh rows in it. Okay, so now let's see the size. It's 35 MB. Okay, so if we update the table or all the rows of the table, so how it will work. Okay, we are updating each and every row of the table. ID is equal to ID is equal to 1, so that every row will be updated. So now let's see the size of the table. You see, it is 69. It is kind of double. So how it is? Postgres in update, what it does, it creates a new version of the each row. So we are updating all the rows, so all rows has a newer version and the older version is still there. That will be when we do the vacuum, the older version will be removed, but the space still be there, so we are going to see it. So when we updated it, the older version is there. Okay, let's do the vacuum now. Okay, so the command for that is vacuum and the table name vacuum test. Okay, so vacuum is done for this table. If we do not do it manually, the auto vacuum will take care of it. There are some parameters which we discussed already, how when auto vacuum will work. You see, the size is still 69 MB, which is the same. So what vacuum does, it does not it does not make the space like clear the space. It just mark that space as usable, which is the older rows, which is occupied by the older rows. Okay, so that is marked after vacuum the reusable. Okay, but that's not available for use if we do not use vacuum. That's the older rows are still there, and that we call a table blot, like older few junk data, previous data is there, and we did update, delete, and then the newer version of the same rows gets created. So we are now accessing the newer version of the rows, but older data is still there. So vacuum uh, removes that older data, which we can call it blotted tables, blotted data. So vacuum removes that data, but uh, and marks that space as reusable, but the space is still occupied by that. So if we do another update, what happens? Okay, if we do another update of the same table, like if we update another row, so that, let me show you the size. You see the size is still 69. Okay, because these reusable, the space which is space for the older rows which vacuum marks reusable, the newer version of the rows occupied the same rows, same space. So if we do the vacuum again, so the size will be again 69, that's like the same way, size will be 69, but the vacuum will uh, mark that space reusable. Okay, if we have that this space and this space, and vacuum marks this space reusable, and the newer version will be created at the this another version. And after that time, when the newer version is there, so vacuum will we do another update, so the that time newer version will be created here, and vacuum will mark that this version as reusable. So let's do the auto vacuum now. We updated the table, all we have now older version and newer version for the at this space right now. Okay, this is full. So if we enable the auto vacuum, that space will be occupied, the space will be marked reusable. So let's see how to mark that space reusable. So for that we can alter the table, alter table, the table name, and then set the auto vacuum enabled is equal to true. Let's see. Okay, so we altered the table. Now if we update, let's see if what's the size of the table right now, it's still 69. We know the auto vacuum works or not. The auto vacuum worked. Okay, it runs every 3 times, or whenever the when after 3 seconds, or whenever the where there are some parameters threshold, and so table we know that's already auto vacuum will run at the earliest. So now we are going to update. Okay, now we'll see the space used. Okay, so see the space is 69, so it is occupied. The auto vacuum does its work. Auto vacuum marks the space by older version of rows reusable, and when we update, so the newer version occupies the space marked reusable by vacuum. So auto vacuum also does the same work what we are doing in manually. So but auto vacuum is a daemon process for Postgres, so it does its work by its own. We need not to do the work by manually at every time, or so that's how vacuum does its work. So we want like we also want like if we want to do the full vacuum, because we do not want the space to be marked reusable. We want to use that space for other things, or we want to reclaim the space reusable by after the vacuum, and the so if we reclaim this space, the space is right now is 35 MB, which is the old version data. The data version is only 35 MB. The junk, the bloated data, that is 35 GB MB, and after vacuum that is marked reusable. But we want to reclaim that space. So for that we can do the vacuum full. The command is vacuum full and vacuum test. But you may not be able to and you do not want to do it in your production, because this locks the table. Vacuum full locks the table till that time vacuum works. Okay, so let's see if we do the vacuum for this, and then see, you see we reclaimed the 35 MB, 34 MB, which is occupied by this marked reusable after vacuum, and still occupied by the table. We reclaimed that 35 MB. So vacuum full reclaims that space, but only vacuum, it marks that space reusable. It doesn't reclaim it. So that's the difference between vacuum, full vacuum, and Auto vacuum does all that work, which is why vacuum by its own. So that's how these things work. There's a utility with PostgreSQL, which is pgrepack. It's a third party extension that allows table reorganization without requiring an excessive lock. So if you install that utility, your table will be does auto full vacuum will be done at your table. You will reclaim your space used by update or delete, which is, um, you can reuse that space, reclaim that space. The table reordering that will be done with pg repack. So we'll be seeing that repack utility in detail in our next video. Okay, so thank you, and that's all for this lecture. Thank you. Bye bye.